Unveiling Dinah, a miraculous journey of redemption and divine restoration in Jacob's family. In the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, in a land marked by the dusty plains of Shechem, a yearning spirit emerged from within the tents of Jacob. Dinah, the daughter of Jacob and Leah, grew restless amidst the mundane cycles of her family's encampment. The sun began to rise, casting a golden hue across the rugged earth, igniting a longing in her heart for connection and adventure. With each step she took toward the city, she held tightly to the hope of mingling with the daughters of the land, unaware of the intricate tapestry fate had woven for her. As Dinah stepped into the bustling heart of Shechem, laughter and songs intertwined, forming a symphony of youthful joy. She marveled at vibrant fabrics swaying in the breeze, spices filling the air, and the vibrant energy radiating from the women she met. But as hours turned to moments, an ominous shadow hovered over her innocent revelry. Shechem, son of Hamor, lay in wait, his gaze fixed upon Dinah. More than admiration glinted in his eyes. A wicked desire crept forth like a serpent. In a swift moment of darkness, he seized her, stripping Dinah not only of her innocence, but also of the dignity that flowed from her very essence. Her spirit, once eager and full of life, was now marred with a profound ache, and she found herself shackled by invisible chains that tightened with every echo of her lost laughter. Back amidst their encampment, Jacob's heart was heavy, tangled in despair, as the word of his daughter's plight seeped through the sacred walls of family bonds. Silence enveloped him like a frail shroud, while the traditions of his people wrestled fiercely with the anguished cries for vengeance that erupted from Dinah's brothers, Simeon and Levi. Their hearts burned with righteous indignation, igniting a firestorm that beckoned retribution against Shechem and his kin. The air thickened with tension. Echoes of pained cries mixed with the burden of bloodshed looming ahead as they plodded under the shroud of night. As the dust settled from the violence that ensued, the aftermath left scars deeper than flesh. Jacob found himself exiled in an emotional wilderness, a fragmented father grappling with the unfolding tragedy that engulfed his family. The covenant promises that once felt like an embrace began to chill. Yet amidst the ruins of sorrow, whispers of hope began to flicker softly, dancing in the hearts of those shattered by grief. Dinah, marked by her ordeal, sought solace, a gleaming light amid darkness. She turned to her family, yearning for restoration and understanding, yet the silence was deafening, echoing her own internal struggle. As night cloaked a land, Dinah looked up at the stars twinkling overhead, reminding her of the promises made to her ancestors, the God of her father, of Abraham and Isaac. It dawned on her that even through unthinkable trials, a tapestry of hope may unfold. Drawing on faith, she resolved to trust the one who threads through the chaos, believing that even the darkest nights must eventually yield to dawn. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select all notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now, let's continue with what the Lord did next. As Dinah stands at the precipice of despair and hope, her heart wrestles with the promise of redemption. How will her story weave into the grand narrative of her family? And what unforeseen paths of restoration lie ahead? The threads of her life, intertwined with the legacy of her father's covenant, beckon her to seek answers and embrace the purpose that may yet be revealed. Now, in the days that followed the desolation, rumors of Jacob's son's wrath spread like wildfire among the tribes and nations. Abandoning their peaceful existence, Simeon and Levi dwelled in the shadow of their violent act, their hearts no longer pure but darkened by vengeance. The grief of the family hung heavily in the air, mingled with the stench of blood and betrayal. Yet, amid this tumult, a part of Dinah stirred, an ember of hope flickering within the ash of despair. As she wistfully wandered her family's encampment, Dinah often sought refuge by the riverbank. There, she reflected on the stories of her mother Leah, who, though unvalued by her husband Jacob, carried great strength in her heart. It was Leah's resilience in the face of rejection that mirrored Dinah's own struggle. Perhaps, she thought, I too can find beauty in brokenness. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting its final golden rays upon the waters, Dinah knelt beside the banks and raised her voice in prayer. O God of my fathers, I am but a shadow, yet even shadows can give testimony to light. Show me thy purpose and lead me through this valley of darkness. In that moment of earnest supplication, the wind swirled around her, whispering secrets of grace. Her heart, once burdened by the weight of shame, began to thrum with a new rhythm, a call to faith. She knew that healing could only emerge from surrender, as she recalled the words spoken to her father Jacob when he wrestled with the angel. You shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, for you have striven with God and with men and have prevailed. It soon became known that the people of Shechem were restless. Hamor, a man of influence and sorrow, sought to quell the storms of anger and despair rising from the hearts of the people.
He sent out invitations to Jacob's household, desiring to communicate peace to the very family that had lost so much. We must reconcile before this begets more destruction, he declared. Let us unite in our suffering and make a pact to heal together. As word of the proposal reached Dinah, she felt a stirring within. Could there be hope for reconciliation, she pondered? Could my family and the family of Shechem learn to forgive? In the tents that night, Jacob wrestled with the tumult of thoughts. What is the path that I must take? Will my sons yield to a peace that they did not choose? Noticing the cloud of darkness enveloping their camp, his heart ached for guidance. Yet, amidst the noise, he felt a gentle stirring within him, whispering words of wisdom. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. As dawn broke, casting a soft glow on the world, Dinah's heart was resolute. She sought her brothers. Simeon, Levi, this is our chance to heal, she urged. Let us not be consumed by rage, but guided by a desire to restore what has been broken. The eyes of her brothers met her with skepticism, yet something within them hesitated. Perhaps it was the light in her voice that sparked a glimmer of hope amidst the darkness. Thus, a meeting was arranged on neutral ground, Jacob's family and the people of Shechem. The air was thick with uncertainty and unspoken fears. The task before them was monumental, but would the God of their fathers intervene in this moment of potential unity? And as the sun climbed higher, two consequential paths lay before them, one leading to destruction, the other towards redemption. But within the heart of Dinah, a hidden truth began to unravel. What if God was orchestrating a plan that would not only redeem her, but also bring salvation to many? For I know the plans I have for you, the Lord would remind the hearts of his people. Was this promise true even for her? The time had come for Dinah to step into the unfolding of God's divine tapestry, her life intertwined with something far greater than her pain. And on the horizon loomed a promise yet unseen, beckoning her to trust the unfolding of God's sovereign plan. As the sun rose over the horizon, painting the sky with hues of pink and gold, Jacob gathered his sons to discuss the forthcoming meeting. A deep burden rested upon his heart, for he sensed the magnitude of the moment. The potential for forgiveness or further rifts lay heavy in the air. He spoke to them with a voice softened by years of experience and sorrow. "My sons," he began, The Lord has brought us to this hour, a time where we must choose between wrath and reconciliation. Let our actions reflect the grace that our God has shown us. We are Israel, a people chosen by the Lord, and it is time to act as such." Simeon and Levi exchanged troubled glances, the shadows of their past deeds looming large over their spirits.
"Father, how can we approach the very people who have caused our sister such anguish?" Simeon asked, his voice edged with doubt. Levi, with a fierce spirit that had once driven their avenging blades, spoke next. "To forgive them feels like betraying Dinah, and I know not if my heart can ever yield." Dinah, who stood at the threshold of their tent listening intently, felt the weight of their words. "My brothers, do you not see?" she implored, stepping into the light. "We are more than our anguish and our pain. The God of our fathers calls us to higher ground. Each wound can become a part of a greater healing if we yield to His will." Though her words were met with silence, something began to shift within the hearts of her brothers. The power of Dinah's faith shook the very foundations of their resolve, and for a fleeting moment, hope flickered where darkness had reigned. Meanwhile, Hamor prepared for the meeting in the fields, a space set apart from the discord that had plagued their existence. With a heart heavy with grief, he reflected on the loss suffered by both families. "May the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob grant us peace," he murmured, holding his son Shechem's hand, who bore silent sorrow carved deeply into his young face. As the hour approached, Jacob led his sons towards the gathering place, accompanied by Dinah, who walked resolutely at their side. The sounds of their footsteps on the dry earth merged with the whispers of the wind, as though all creation awaited the outcome of this fateful encounter. When Jacob and his family arrived, a hush fell over the crowd that had gathered from Shechem. Eyes were filled with apprehension, and in that moment the air hung thick with tension. The reality of their past was as palpable as the presence of the Lord, who silently stood upon the precipice of their hearts. Hamor stepped forward with a voice that trembled slightly. "Jacob, your sons have brought grief upon my household, yet here we stand yearning for peace. Dinah, daughter, we have wronged you. I beseech you, speak for yourself." Dinah felt the weight of countless eyes upon her, their expectations like a heavy cloak. But as she stood there, God reminded her of the ember of hope within her soul. With trembling faith, she found her voice. "We stand here not merely as two families divided by pain, but as vessels of a greater purpose. I have suffered, but I believe that healing is possible." The atmosphere shifted, and she declared boldly, "If my family and yours can embrace forgiveness, we may forge a path toward unity." As Dinah spoke, the Lord's presence enveloped the gathering. Many felt an unmistakable stirring in their hearts. Would this fragile thread of hope weave a tapestry of redemption? Simeon, taking a step forward, found courage in the depth of her conviction. "We seek not revenge nor further bloodshed, but reconciliation driven by our shared sorrow." Can we not recognize our need for healing instead of continuing this cycle of pain? Shadows hung above their heads as they awaited the answer, the weight of their collective anguish pressing down heavily. Yet what was hidden in the hearts of those assembled was that amidst the uncertainty, the echoes of God's plan heralded a new beginning. As Dinah looked towards the horizon, she realized the truth. The forgiveness they sought would require more than mere words. It would demand the courage to embrace the unknown. Would their hearts align with the divine design laid before them? "Behold, he who calls you forth is the God who creates pathways from deserts," she proclaimed. "May this day be marked by the beginning of our healing, for the Lord's purposes are far beyond our understanding.
What if, just perhaps, through this act of faith, a new covenant would emerge? And so, with the eyes of all fixed upon them, the time had come. Would they step into the tapestry of God's plan, or would they withdraw, chained by their past? An uncharted path lay before them, a divine mystery waiting to unfold. As the silence deepened, a heartbeat echoed among the gathered, laden with anticipation. Jacob stepped forth, his gaze piercing the assembly, a father seeking reconciliation amid the ruins of their hearts. "Hear me, O sons of Israel," he proclaimed, his voice trembling with the weight of their history. "The hand of God is upon us, urging us towards mercy." With renewed resolve, Dinah interjected, "Will we not lay down our swords, both physical and of the spirit? Is it not written, 'Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God'?" Her eyes shone bright with the conviction that had welled within her, stirring hearts once hardened by grief and rage. Hamor, observing the unfolding drama, spoke gently, "Let us dwell not on our past grievances, but on the prospect of harmony. If forgiveness can bloom here today, perhaps it will yield fruit that will nourish future generations." His countenance reflected a desperate yearning for connection, as he searched the faces of Jacob's sons, waiting for the spirit of reconciliation to take root. A murmur swept through the crowd, reflecting doubts and hopes intertwined. Levi, feeling the heat of the moment, wrestled with an inner turmoil. How can we trust those who have wronged us? Will their words lead to false safety? Speak, Dinah. Do you believe that true reconciliation is possible? Dinah steadied herself, her heart aflame with purposeful courage. "Indeed, my brother, it is in trusting the Lord's plan that we find strength. The path before us is fraught with uncertainty, but God has made it clear He desires healing. Are we not the ones who, when faced with the abyss of choice, must choose as He has shown us?" The weight of Dinah's words ignited something in the heart of Simeon. Unbeknownst to the others, he had long been haunted by the shadows of past violence. As he spoke, his voice trembled but carried a newfound light. "If we seek unity, let our hearts be open. I pledge to speak of peace, to share in this journey, and to seek what the Lord has ordained." Jacob, feeling a swell of gratitude, lifted his eyes towards heaven. "May the God of our fathers grant us strength and clarity to move forward. We abandon the bitterness that has shackled our hearts. Today, we stand at the crossroads. Will we be instruments of His peace?" Just then, Shechem stepped forward, his youthful form casting a long shadow in the fading light. "If you can forgive my father and me, I promise to show you honor from this day forth. I wish to bridge the divide, to be a brother, not an enemy." His earnest proclamation resonated with the sorrow and hope shared among them. Tension hung as Dinah considered the heavy implications of what lay ahead. Could the past be truly set aside? She felt God's presence manifest in her uncertainty, a peace that pierced through her fears and shrouded them all. Together, let us speak of restoration. If our hearts can unite, what a beautiful tapestry we may weave. With every word exchanged, the weight of years of animosity began to lift, revealing pathways of grace hidden within the dust of strife. Eyes once filled with suspicion began to soften, and hearts that had closed off tightened with cautious recognition of the divine work unfolding before them. It was at that moment, amid the tentative truce born from humility, that the heavens seemed to tremble with unuttered promises. In the stillness, a voice echoed within Dinah's heart, a whisper of the divine calling her to embrace the journey ahead. As Dinah looked up, the rays of the setting sun illuminated her features, and a spark of realization ignited within her. If we walk together, not only shall we survive, but we shall flourish. For the Lord has plans to prosper us, to give us a future filled with hope. Yet, hidden within this growing unity lay a mystery yet to be revealed. For in this fragile moment of hope, the tapestry of God's sovereign plan was beginning to unfold, a testament that healing and redemption could emerge from the darkest of valleys. What other divine secrets would be unveiled through their willingness to embrace a new beginning? The promise of transformation loomed over them like the dawn breaking the depths of night. And it came to pass, as the sun dipped beneath the horizon, that Jacob's sons began to look at one another with eyes less veiled by rancor and more filled with understanding. Dinah's heart swelled with hope, for she sensed the currents of God's Spirit moving among them. "Brothers," she breathed, "let us not be afraid to lay down the burdens of our past." Then Judah, whose voice often bore the weight of authority, spoke with a steadiness fueled by a burgeoning faith. "Indeed, let us be as the generations before us who walked by faith and not by sight. Our father Isaac knew great trial, and yet the Lord was with him. Shall we not too put our trust in his promise?" The murmurs of agreement echoed in the air, and the crowd shifted, emboldened by the dialogue born of vulnerability. Yet within the heart of Simeon, an ember of doubt flickered. He dared to ask, "But what if this embrace leads us astray? What if peace cannot last while shadows of our past linger?" Dinah approached her brother, a gentle resolve knitting her brows. "Simeon, do you not feel it? God's longing for our reconciliation is stronger than the chains binding us to old wounds. Look around you and see what our willingness to forgive has already begun to ignite. Shall we allow fear to dictate our steps?" The weight of her words found their mark, and Simeon's heart began to soften, leaning into the possibility of restoration, mirroring the prayer of their father. "Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us." Amidst the discourse, Hamor took a step closer, seeking to reflect the growing unity. "If I may offer a token of our sincerity, let us join in fellowship to demonstrate that we desire not only to speak of peace, but to live it fully. I offer my household as a place of gathering, that we may share in the bounty of the land that the Lord has so generously provided." Jacob nodded solemnly, a glimmer of pride for his children rising like the dawn. "Then let it be so. Let us forge a bond upon which the weary can lean, a testament to our shared humanity and the mercy of God." And thus, in the shadow of ancient trees, the two families gathered, strangers bound together by a shared hope, and they broke bread as a sign of their commitment. The fragrance of roasted lamb wafted into the air, mingling with the warmth of conversation, and laughter broke like sweet music within the cloister of their hearts. Yet, as they feasted, the eye of the Most High gazed upon them, unveiling layers of a plan yet unfulfilled. Dinah, struck by the realization of their harmony, sensed a stirring within her spirit. A thought loomed on the horizon. What if this moment was but the first thread in a greater tapestry? In that sacred pause, Dinah lifted her eyes to heaven, acknowledging the God who weaves destinies. "O Lord," she whispered, "have you not called us into a new covenant to be a light among the nations? Let our story reflect not just forgiveness, but a journey toward redemption. What work do you yet have for us?" And as she spoke, a mighty wind began to stir, carrying with it the fragrance of promise. It seemed to echo the words of Jeremiah. "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Little did they know that the threads of their reconciliation were weaving a fabric of destiny greater than themselves. For the sovereign author of history was orchestrating a narrative of deliverance and grace that would resound through generations to come. What future calling awaited this newfound unity, and how profound would be the ripples of their choices in the fulfillment of God's purpose?
And it came to pass, as the moon rose high in the sky, casting silver shadows upon the earth, that the hearts of those gathered began to pulse with a rhythm of anticipation. Jacob's sons, now sitting side by side with the men of Shechem, felt an undercurrent of change, as if the very air they breathed was charged with divine purpose. Judah, emboldened by the moment, rose once more. "Let us not merely feast, but also offer thanks to the Lord for this fellowship," he declared, his voice resonating with a faith that had begun to blossom amidst their turmoil. "For it is written, 'In everything give thanks, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you.'" 1 Thessalonians 5:18. As they bowed their heads, Dinah observed her brothers and their new friends, their resolve tempered by humility and grace. She felt an assurance swell in her heart that this was a pivotal moment in their family's legacy, echoing the promise of God spoken to Abraham, that through his seed all nations would be blessed. Genesis 12:3. Emerging from the shadows, a voice broke the harmony, a familiar whisper borne on the winds of doubt. It was the spirit of their past that still lingered, reminding them of transgressions that had yet to be settled. A figure stood at the edge of the gathering, the embodiment of old resentments, none other than Shimeon, whose anger still smoldered against the injustice they had suffered. "Brothers, are we now to forsake our heritage for a fleeting feast? Will we lower our guard and stand vulnerable before those who harmed us? Are their words not but sweet poison?" he spoke, his brow furrowing in disdain. But Dinah, driven by conviction and faith, stepped forward. "My brother, it is in the vulnerability we find our strength. Have we not witnessed the mercy of God today? Even our adversaries can become allies when the Lord is among us. We do not deny our past, but we shall not be held captive by it. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world." Ephesians 6:12. The murmurs that swept through the crowd arose like the tides of the sea, and Dinah's words found purchase in the soil of their questioning hearts. She sensed, with keen intuition, that this overture between the two families was not merely a human endeavor, but a divine orchestration pushing them toward healing. And just then, as if heralding a heavenly decree, a wind swirled around them, stirring the leaves of the ancient trees with an otherworldly cadence. Beneath the weight of that moment, Jacob withdrew to the fringes of the gathering, his heart heavy yet hopeful. He recalled the promise made to him at Bethel, "The land on which you lie will be given to you and your descendants," Genesis 28:13. He prayed silently, seeking the Lord's guidance, his heart yearning to understand how this gathering fit into the broader narrative of their lifelines. "O God, are you not the God of reconciliation? Will you not restore what was lost? Might you even now be preparing us for a future we cannot fully grasp?" As the stars winked down upon them, a solemn peace enveloped the company, and hearts that had once been hardened began to bend towards compassion and understanding. Little did they know that the very act of sitting together would echo through the ages, the foundations of a divine tapestry being woven. Their reconciliation was but a prelude to a greater plan, the seat of a kingdom yet unfurling. What journeys awaited this family, and how would God's sovereign hand guide their steps into a destiny filled with His promise? The seeds of hope were sown, but the harvest had yet to come. And it came to pass, as the laughter and conversations mingled with the night's tranquility, a somber atmosphere suddenly descended upon the gathering. The men of Shechem, who moments ago had shared bread with the sons of Jacob, now looked upon them with uncertainty. It was as if a shadow had fallen over their hearts, whispering doubts to cloud their minds. A man among them, named Hamor, the leader of Shechem, stepped forward with a countenance that bore the weight of unspoken concerns.
"Jacob, our friend," he began, "your daughter has brought harmony where discord once reigned. Yet we must not ignore the seed of sorrow planted in years past. Is there not more to this meeting than mere feasting? What of the wounds still fresh upon our people?" Judah, recognizing the gravity of Hamor's words, took a deep breath. "Dear brother, we do not diminish our past, but we seek to create a new legacy. For in this gathering, as God has brought our families together, we feel an unexplainable pull towards a covenant of peace." He glanced at Dinah, whose countenance shone with a light that seemed divinely inspired. It is said, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God." Matthew 5:9. Let us be those who bridge the gap. And as he spoke, the air thickened with a tangible sense of divine presence. The trees rustled in response, whispering of the ancient promises of God. The men stood frozen, reflecting upon their legacy, a legacy marred by violence, yet shining with the hope of reconciliation. Dinah then felt moved by the Spirit. Taking a bold step, she faced both parties. "I have lived in the shadows of sorrow, and yet God has mirrored His grace upon my heart today. I urge you all to step into the light of forgiveness. The Lord calls us not to dwell in past transgressions, but to rise as vessels of His mercy. The Lord calls us to be those who bridge the gap." And as he spoke, the air thickened with a tangible sense of divine presence. The trees rustled in response, whispering of the ancient promises of God. The men stood frozen, reflecting upon their legacy, a legacy marred by violence, yet shining with the hope of reconciliation. Dinah then felt moved by the Spirit. Taking a bold step, she faced both parties. "I have lived in the shadows of sorrow, and yet God has mirrored His grace upon my heart today. I urge you all to step into the light of forgiveness. The Lord calls us not to dwell in past transgressions, but to rise as vessels of His mercy." Her voice trembled, yet it carried with it the weight of prophetic declaration. As she spoke, the hearts of both Jacob's sons and the men of Shechem began to soften. They felt the power of her words weaving through the fabric of their fractured history, urging them toward a new narrative. It was as if heaven had opened and light poured forth, blinding them momentarily with hope. But Shimeon, still lingering with inner turmoil, stepped forth once more. And what of the pain? The trust that needed rebuilding cannot be hastened merely by words. He looked around, seeking agreement among his brothers, whose faces bore similar doubts. "It is the pain," declared Dinah, her eyes reflecting unwavering conviction, "that tells the story of survival. Yet it does not have to define who we will be. God is the author of restoration, and He can turn ashes into beauty." The air shifted as thoughts echoed. The old wounds were battles fought, yet victory lay in surrendering to God's plan. Hamilton murmurs of agreement rippled through both families, the hesitant men of Shechem now looking at Judah and Dinah with eyes of renewed purpose. Then suddenly, like a spark igniting a flame, a small child from Shechem ran forth, clutching a bouquet of wildflowers. "Look," he cried joyfully, "these flowers bloom despite the darkness. Isn't that like us?" He presented the flowers to Dinah, his innocent understanding piercing through the tension. As she accepted the offering, tears pooled in her eyes. "Indeed, little one," she whispered, "within us lies the capacity for rebirth." The weight of the discussion shifted into a soaring hope as Hamor stepped forward with outstretched hands. "Let us not only promise peace, but also seal it with a covenant, a new alliance forged in the pursuit of love and understanding." Thus, amidst their trepidation, hearts knit together by faith and a firm resolution to embrace the divine calling within their lives began to flourish. And as their vows were spoken into the night, Jacob looked skyward,
compelled by an ancient promise, the divine purpose unfolding like the stars above, a promise that within their unity lay the foundation of a nation destined to shine brightly for generations to come. Yet the very winds of heaven stirred anew, for unbeknownst to them, the threads of their lives entangled deeply with a greater story, a story of triumph over despair, where the plan of salvation would unfold in ways beyond their comprehension. What awaited them on this miraculous journey of redemption? The path forward held mysteries yet unveiled, resonating with the whispers of eternity. And it came to pass that as the sun began to rise over the land, painting the sky with colors of dawn, a renewed spirit coursed through the hearts of Jacob's sons and the men of Shechem. The morning light revealed the resolve upon their faces. Each man spoke in hushed tones, feeling the gravity of their vows woven into the fabric of destiny.
Jacob, seeing the transformation, gathered his sons around him as they stood at the fringes of the encampment. "My children," he began, with a voice filled with fatherly wisdom, "this day is marked by our commitment to peace. What our forefathers deemed an insurmountable divide can be crossed by grace. Let us not forget the God of our fathers, who demands a unity born not only from treaty, but from our hearts." Thus, Jacob led them in prayer, fervently seeking the Lord's blessing upon this new alliance. "O God of Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, hear our cries. We humble ourselves before you. Let harmony prevail, and may our descendants know the blessings of mutual respect and love." As the men bowed their heads, a stillness encompassed them, punctuated only by the soft rustling of the leaves, an echo of the prayers ascending towards heaven. The Spirit of the Lord descended upon them, and a holy awe washed over the assembly, invigorating their resolve. Then Hamor, emboldened by the Spirit, raised his voice. "Let us share our burdens, for a covenant requires trust. We must lay bare our grievances, for healing is birthed in transparency." And in that sacred moment, each man began to recount the sorrows and wounds held deep within. They spoke of loss, of betrayals, and of the heavy cost exacted upon their families through strife. As they shared, the walls that once divided them crumbled, revealing a shared humanity in their suffering. Dinah, witnessing the unfolding communion, felt a stirring within her soul. She stepped forward once more, her heart brimming with purpose. "Let us exchange not only words, but also signs of our commitment," she suggested. "May we offer tokens of our hearts, gifts representing our resolutions to heal and uphold the sacred bond we have forged today." The men of Shechem looked upon one another, pondering her words. Then a wise elder of the city stepped forward, holding aloft a golden pendant. "This shall be our token, an emblem of our understanding. We shall wear it as a reminder that we have chosen unity over division, that we have embraced forgiveness." One by one, they exchanged gifts, simple tokens of goodwill that held profound meaning, like the bright flowers presented earlier by the child. And in that sacred exchange, a new history began to etch itself upon the scrolls of time. But even as new foundations were being laid, the shadows of the past lurked on the horizon. For unseen forces stirred, enemies who would not rejoice in their peace. Like a tempest building unseen in the distance, dimensions of conflict were weaving a storm around them. As the assembly drew to a close, Baker, a man of Shechem with a watchful gaze, sensed a change in the winds. "Brothers," he intoned, "though we walk in new-found fellowship and faith, let us remain vigilant. The enemy desires to strike at the heart of our promise." And Jacob's heart quickened at the words.
Indeed, we must be alert, for God's work often invites resistance from ways unseen. Know this, our hope cannot waver. But what must we do? In the gathering of men, a resolute spirit rose. They determined to stand guard against the tides of adversity that threatened their covenant. each heart, now intertwined, beat in prayerful anticipation, awaiting the Lord's direction upon this fragile unity. Yet, as the sun escalated in the sky, illuminating the path ahead, a deepening mystery entwined their steps. For even in their resolve to uphold peace, God's plan remained unrolled, hidden beneath layers of His sovereign will. What trials did the Almighty have in store? What deliverance awaited them amidst the shadows? The whispers of eternity turned again, beckoning them onward into the fullness of His redemptive purposes, revealing that every promise comes with its own profound journey. And it came to pass, as the day grew warm and the sun kissed the earth, that the men of Shechem and the sons of Jacob took their places together, strengthened by their newfound alliance. Yet, unbeknownst to them, the wheels of fate turned beneath the golden skies, weaving a tapestry of divine providence yet to be revealed. Jacob, mindful of their precarious situation, called upon his sons. Let us remain steadfast in our unity, for it is a fragile gift that requires our vigilance. What we have begun today must be guarded with all diligence, for the enemy lurks ever near. His voice resonated with a firmness that sought to knit their hearts together in ironclad resolve. And as the shadows lengthened, the spirit of anticipation hung in the air, like the stillness before a storm. Dinah, feeling the tension, spoke up once more. "Shall we not ask the Lord for wisdom? For in His counsel we shall find light amid darkness." Her words stirred the hearts of those gathered, causing them to echo her intent, and they fell upon their knees, beseeching the Lord for clarity and strength. "O Lord," they cried out in unison, "guide our footsteps in this treacherous path. Grant us discernment in the face of adversity, and let no scheme of man draw us from this unity." And in their fervent cries, the heavens seemed to pause, as if heaven itself awaited the answer of the Almighty. Then, suddenly, as if the very fabric of life had been torn, a messenger arrived, breathless and haggard from the journey. "A great trouble approaches," he exclaimed. "The men of Shechem's enemies have heard of your covenant, and they gather even now with swords drawn. They seek to undo what you have built, for they will not suffer this alliance." Fear gripped the assembly, a chill of dread wrapping around their hearts. But amidst the turmoil, Jacob stood, resolute as the ancient oaks of the land. "Let not our hands tremble," he proclaimed, "for the Lord is with us. Did He not promise that He shall be our stronghold?"
The truth of His words instilled courage, for they remembered how the Lord delivered their forefathers from the hands of Pharaoh, how He opened the sea for their escape. As they gathered their resolve, Dinah stepped forth once more, her spirit aflame as the sun dipped low in the sky. "We cannot allow fear to dictate our actions. Let us strategize not only for our survival, but for the continuation of our promise to each other. We are called to be children of the covenant. Let us fight not just for ourselves, but for the generations that shall carry forth our legacy." At her words, the men found within them a rekindling of strength. They agreed that each family should prepare and give account of their needs, setting a watch throughout the city. They organized themselves, men wielding shields and swords, their hearts beating as one in sacred purpose. Yet, unbeknownst to them, in the high places, unseen eyes watched. Darkened hearts schemed against the fragile peace. The king of Shechem, feeling the stirrings of turmoil, sought alliances with others who dwelt in the shadows, rallying forces that would seek to tear apart the fabric of their bond. As night cloaked the landscape, a portentous calm blanketed the land, a deceptive peace that bore the weight of impending conflict. They all felt it, the choices each had made echoing loudly in the stillness,
creating a tension, a pregnant pause before the great unfolding. Thus, a prelude to either great triumph or devastating sorrow hung heavily in the air. What would come of their unity? What ultimate test awaited them that would either affirm the covenant of peace or plunge them into turmoil? For as it stands, the soil of Shechem was rich with purpose, and the hand of the Almighty wove through their destinies, subtly guiding them toward a salvation not yet understood. In the looming darkness, was there a greater plan unfolding? Indeed, the Lord was preparing a deliverance that would change the course of their lives forever. And so they stood, heartened as the night deepened, unaware of the colossal decree that would emanate from the heavens, an invitation to trust in a sovereign purpose beyond their ken. And it came to pass, in the hours before dawn, that the camp was alive with an urgency that pressed upon the hearts of Jacob's sons and the men of Shechem. The cool air shimmered with the potential of impending conflict, yet there was a resolute spirit lingering within them, birthed from the unity they had forged. Jacob gathered his sons and their allies, the weight of their vows heavy upon him, yet he felt the steadfast presence of the Lord wrapping about their assembly like a cloak. "My brothers," Jacob began, voice steady, "we stand on the brink of history. What has begun in vulnerability must now stand fortified in courage. Let the God of our fathers be our guide, for he shall lead us through the storm." This night, let us remind ourselves that we have not just forged an alliance against the enemy, but a bond of love and mutual respect that shall resonate through the ages. Simeon and Levi, their hearts quickened by purpose, exchanged determined glances. "We will not allow our sister's suffering to be in vain," Simeon declared. "Let us turn our mourning into strength and fight not just for our homes, but for the souls intertwined with ours." Levi thrust his spear forth, rallying their spirits. "For every life lost, let our hearts beat with the resolve to protect and forgive. This is our legacy." Then Hamor, recognizing the weight of their mission, stepped forward. "Then let us arm ourselves not only with weapons, but with the conviction that we stand as one. Let our unity be our shield as we prepare to defend our families and our covenant." As the men prepared, Dinah found herself drawn into fervent prayer. Kneeling by the ancient oaks, she raised her voice to the heavens. "O Lord God of our ancestors," she beseeched, "you who look upon the hearts of men, empower us this day. Let the fruit of our unity blossom in peace. Allow your strength to overshadow our fears, that we might weather this storm together." Her words lifted to the skies, merged with the shimmering stars, and in that moment she felt a warmth enveloping her, a divine assurance that permeated the encampment. The suns on the horizon began to rise, their beams breaking through the darkness, illuminating faces that were now painted with hope. With dawn's arrival, the sound of footsteps echoed in the valley below, a marching of adversaries rising like a flood. The air grew tense, charged with the gravity of what was to come. From their vantage point, Jacob and his sons could see the men gathering, their intent clear in their determined strides. Jacob turned to those gathered. "Brothers, let our first act be one of trust. As we face our enemies, let them see that we have chosen love over hatred. Stand firm, for the Lord who brought us together will empower us. It is not our hands alone that fight, but His will." The men lifted their swords in a unified gesture, affirming their commitment to the cause. As the opposing forces drew closer, an unexpected silence enveloped the battlefield. The gathering dusk of animosity held its breath before the inevitable clash. But then, in the heart of this growing storm, Dinah's spirit surged once more with the fervor of faith.
She stepped forward, her voice ringing clear through the stillness, finding the courage she hadn't realized was within her. Before we confront them, let us not forget the words imparted to us by God. "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God," she cried valiantly, looking toward the faces of her family, seeking their attention and hope. Jacob nodded, the light of understanding dawning upon him.
Indeed, perhaps our greatest strength lies not solely in our swords, but in the willingness to seek peace even among our foes. What if we offered them a chance to reconsider their actions? We know the power of forgiveness. In a moment of inspired unity, Jacob prompted Dinah to speak on behalf of both families. "Will you take this stand with me?" he urged her, recognizing the sacred weight of her voice amidst their impending trial. With resolve, Dinah turned to the approaching company, her heart racing yet steady. "People of Shechem, we face turmoil today, but I implore you, before we fight, let us speak as brothers, for we share a history too marred by pain and violence. Together, we can lay down our arms and work toward a renewed future." The adversary paused momentarily, uncertain, intrigued by the courage that resonated from the daughter of Jacob. Across the divide, Hamor's eyes met Jacob's, recognizing the shift now palpable in the air. They were not merely foes, but now potential kin, caught in the riptide of a shared destiny. Murmurs of discussion began to ripple through the opposing ranks, leading to a stillness that hinted at the simmering desire for reconciliation on both sides. The leaders of Shechem conferred in hushed tones, the weight of their choices waging war in their hearts. Finally, moved by her conviction, Hamor stepped forward. "If what is proposed is true, let us meet with respect, and let us recognize the wounds of our past. For we know the strength of enmity. Shall we not seek the deeper strength of unity?" And so, under the banner of faith forged in fire, Dinah and Jacob stepped toward Hamor, leading their families into a fragile peace that could yet birth a new legacy. As their hands touched in a gesture of faith, a divine veil seemed to envelop them, as if the heavens rejoiced in their choice. Thus, the sun blazed with fresh light upon the land, shining brightly upon the repaired relationships, illuminating a path of redemption that echoed the Creator's promise. As they walked together, emboldened by newfound grace and unity, the trembling fears of the night began to dissipate like mist before the dawn, revealing a future overflowing with possibility. Let every heart witness what God can do as His intricate design unfolds, one woven into the fabric of time and generations, where pain meets purpose. And in that crucible emerges love unyielding, a testament to the mighty hand of God that shelters His children amidst the trials of life. As you reflect on the miraculous journey of Dinah and her family, remember, dear friends, that reconciliation is never out of reach. The Lord's promises are true, and His grace is sufficient. Now, I invite you to embark on this journey of faith with us. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next powerful biblical stories that can transform your life. Leave a like now to help spread God's word through the algorithm, inviting more souls to hear His truth. Comment below your spiritual reflections. How has this story impacted your faith journey? And don't wait even one more second to share this powerful testimony with at least 5 friends who need to hear God's truth today. This is the moment to help spread biblical truth, and I know you feel the urgency of this call upon your heart. Together, let's shine the light of His hope into our world.